hello, and welcome to MidnightSilvercrafters.com. My name's Steve, and I'll be your host. Alright, I'm out here in the shop, and I'm making some molds today. I'm making some silicone molds, some RTV silicone rubber molds. And I thought this would just be a good time to make a video. I've been wanting to make a video about making these molds. But what you're going to need to make a RTV silicone rubber mold, I'm going to show you everything you're going to need and how you do it. Now, these molds I'm making today are going to be used for cast and wax. Okay, now you can use these molds to cast just about anything you want to cast. Wax, rubber, resin. There's all kinds of things you can use to cast in these molds. But I wanted to show you now what this is going to be is what they call is what they call a cut mold. Okay, and with a cut mold, what you do is you embed your pattern right down in the silicone, and then you cut the mold in half after it's cured, and you end up with 2 halves to a mold. Excuse me. Now, cut molds are a lot better. They give you a lot better results because the seam where those 2 molds go together, those 2 halves of the mold go together, are just about invisible on these type of molds, and you're not going to get a whole lot of flashing, around the edge where the molds, 2 halves of the molds come together. But what you're going to need to take your pattern, and you're going to need to put it in some type of a mold frame. Now you see, I got right here, I got this chasing hammer. I'm going to cast up a bunch of these hammer heads. But I got this chasing hammer, I got it down there in this box. Now I just built, this is a simple mold frame. I just built this out of MDF. And I super glued it together, real simple and easy. That's why I like it, it's easy to work with. But you can make a mold frame out of just about anything that you want. Plastic food containers are really good to use. But what you see, I got my pattern down in there. Now, the way you put your pattern in there just depends on your sprue. Now, the sprue is where you're going to pour in your material and how you're going to sprue it. See, now this particular mold right here, it's that wooden dowel that's going into the edge of the box. You see, that's going to be my sprue hole. And that hole there is going to be where I'm going to put my, pour my wax, or either pour my wax or I can inject wax. Now, these molds, you can use them for jewelry making, for just about anything that you want to cast. You can make jewelry molds with these. I make a lot of jewelry molds. I cast a lot of jewelry. But anyhow, you just get you a simple mold frame. Now, plastic food containers are a real good thing to use. But if I can show you, down in here, there's not a lot of space. You see that? You don't need a whole lot of space around that pattern, because if you have too much space around your pattern, you're just going to waste rubber, and that's, it's real expensive rubber, and you don't want to waste it. This is the rubber right here that I'm using today. You can see that says Amazing Mold Rubber. If I can get a focus for you, Amazing Mold Rubber. But all you do is you just mix up your catalyst. It comes, the rubber will come with the catalyst, and you stir that catalyst in there real good. And then you just pour that rubber down in there. Now, I'm going to go ahead and mix up this rubber, and then I'm going to show you. I'm going to just pour this down in there. So let me mix up this rubber, and we'll get it poured in, and then I'll show you the cutting part. All right, I got my rubber all stirred up and mixed up real good. What you do is when you start pouring, you want to pour a high, thin stream. Okay, in other words, see how thin that stream is? And you want to hold that. You want to hold that real high, as high as you can hold that, and you want to pour see how that's pouring in there, and hold it in one spot and just let the rubber flow around. Pour it right down in the corner, but see how thin that stream is? Okay, you want a high, thin stream when you pour this rubber. You don't want to pour it hold it real close. Hold it up as high as you can pour it and get a good thick stream where it's going to flow out of there. See? Now what that does, that helps a lot with your air bubbles, all right? But that's how you want to do it. So you just see how that rubber's just flowing right around that part? Okay, see that? It's just flowing right around that part. I may not have quite enough rubber here. Let me see. No, I'm not going to have enough rubber to pour both of these, so I'm just going to pour this one, because this is one that I've been working on this one, and I'll pour this second one. I'll have to get me some more rubber. But there you go. Now you see how that rubber's it's just running down in there. You see that? All right, and you just let that run down in there. All right, we got one poured. Well, we're out of rubber, but now I'm gonna let this set up. Now this can take, however long, depends on your rubber and your catalyst. But when you mix that rubber, make sure you mix it real good. So all right, well, this is just the first part of this video. So that's the first part of this video, pouring that rubber. So now the second part, and after this is cured up and after it's dry, I'm going to take that mold frame off of there, and I'm going to show you about the cutting part. Now the cutting part is real important. There's a certain way you got to cut these, and to get the best results. But I'm going to show you how to cut these. So let me go ahead and just wait for this to cure. Probably on this one, probably about 2 or 3 hours, but I'll let this cure up for 2 or 3 hours, and I'll be right back. And then we'll go ahead and we'll learn how to cut these RTV silicone rubber cut molds. All right. Okay, so I got my mold here, and it's good and dry. I left it set actually overnight. But here's my mold, and I just trimmed off the silicone that around the edges with a pair of scissors. But right here's my sprue hole. All right, but now I'm gonna show you what you need. What you need to do is you need to get yourself some of these blades right here. Now you see these are Stanley, okay, extra heavy duty blades. Okay, now these blades, get the extra heavy duty ones. They're a lot stronger and sharper, and they're a lot thicker, and they're really a lot better, because you want to cut these with a real good sharp blade. You can't use a dull blade. You got to use a brand new blade, because you got to get a real good sharp cut. And if your edge of your blade gets dull, okay, then stop using it and use a new blade. It's real important. Now you want to get you a good knife. See, here's my knife. This is just a razor knife, that holds, just a razor knife to hold your blade. But get a good heavy, metal where you can put good pressure right here. Right here, you want to put good pressure and be able to cut, okay, that rubber. But you want a good sharp blade. All right, now let's look at this mold now. You see right here's my sprue hole. I got this piece of tape on here, but so I know that right there is the center Right across there is the center of where my part is. Okay, now on this particular mold, I can see this is my hammerhead. This is this piece right here. This is a wax pattern. Okay, this mold is just for more of these patterns, but right here is my hammerhead. I can see that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut right along this edge, and then I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to cut right across here, and I'm going to go all the way around, and I'm going to go right around the middle and cut, and pull that rubber back and just cut right to that edge. Now when you start cutting, if you can help it, don't let the tip of that blade touch the model, okay? Because if the tip of this blade touches that model, if it scrapes up against it, it's going to dull the tip of your blade. All right, so all right, that's how we're going to cut this. All right, now the first thing we're going to do, we're going to start right here where our sprue is, okay, right here. If you can see that. Now we're going to start, and we're going to make jagged, we're going to cut down, and we're going to make jagged cuts across there. See, I'm making jagged cuts. See how real jagged, okay? Just like that. We're going to come around there like that, and we're going to make jagged cuts. See, now what that's going to do, that's going to let us, it's going to give us like a locking system where this is going to lock back together. All right, now, it just depends on what your part is, but what you want to do is you want to cut right around this sprue hole, okay? See, I'm cutting right around there, and I'm cutting right to here. Now, you don't have to cut. Now, see, right there's my model. I can see my model. I've already hit my model right there. See, it's real close to the edge. But you don't have to cut these completely in half. Now, you can if you want, but you can also have it two halves that'll open up. But see, I'm already right down to my model right there. See? So my model's running that way. So now I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to pull this open, and I'm going to cut right along there. See? See, I'm just cutting right along there. Right along that sprue. Right down to my model. Okay. See, now you can see that in there. All right. See, now I got that one side cut. Okay, now you got to be real careful when you're cutting these, because you don't want to slip and cut your finger. You got to be super, super, super careful doing this, because you got a real sharp blade. See, now I'm all the way right down to my model. Now I'm going to come across here, and I'm going to make a jagged cut. See, and I'm going to just make jagged cuts. Right across there. See, now I hit my model. I can feel it. Okay. Now, what you can do is you can get something like a can opener or something, and you can mount that can opener to the edge of your bench, and you can stick your mold on the tip of that can opener, You know, when I say a can opener, I'm talking about like the old-fashioned type, but just something where you can pull it, you can pull back against, see? Say this was a can opener, you know, that it's like the triangular part of the can opener, and you stick that down and you can pull that, and it'll help you. It'll give you one free hand. This can opener will hold this open for you, and you can pull it open like that, and it's easier to cut. But this is a real simple one, so I'm just cutting it this way. But this one's real simple and easy to cut. But see, I just cut. See, cut right down to my model. All right, now let's see. But you just want to hold that rubber back and just cut that right across there. These molds are really they're kind of hard to mess up, really. I mean, see now there's my model right there. See, now I'm just cutting, see? Now just cut, lightly cut. Pull that rubber back and just cut that right out of there. Okay, see, now we almost got it, see? Now a little bit down here. Alright, now, see, now there you go. Now, you just want to cut all those little strands of rubber. Okay. And just like that. See? And there it is. Now there's my model. And there's my mold. Now see, look. Now see how sweet that goes together? Now that's a sweet mold right there. See? Now that's your mold. Alright, now I'll give you a little secret on how you can set these up, how you can make this for your wax injector. Now see, these two halves are together, and you stick that right on your wax injector, and you put your nozzle of your wax injector right here, and you're going to shoot wax in. Okay, now but one other thing I want to explain is a lot of times you have to cut some vents in these molds because this rubber will seal. It's going to seal down tight like that, and when you shoot your wax in, that wax is going to shoot in there, and the air in here, if air builds up in this mold, it will keep your mold from getting a complete fill. So what you got to do is you got to cut some little tiny vents in the rubber for that air to escape. Real tiny vents, not very big, just real tiny. And there's different ways that you can cut those vents in there. Okay, now I'll show you one way you can cut those vents is you can just put a little hole right, make a little cut right through your rubber. Okay, just a little cut. That goes through your rubber. See that little cut right there? Now that's going to allow the air to go escape out of there. Now you want this real small. You don't want to make a big gash cut in your mold, because if you do, all your wax is going to shoot out. You don't want wax shooting out of this little vent hole. You only want air to go out of there. But see right there, the air can come out through there. You just make that big enough. See, that's down there on the bottom. But what you do is you shoot your mold first, and then you see what your part looks like, and then we'll see if you get a complete fill, okay? And then if you're not getting a complete fill on your part, you might have to go back and cut some more vents in there until your mold is getting a good fill, and it's a good fill of wax down in your mold. And another way you can cut some vents is you can cut them through the side, from the side, like right here. You can make a little cut right across here. Not big, see, just a little cut. And that's going to allow that air, see, that air can escape through that little cut right there. And your wax is going to stay down in there. Okay, now, one more thing I'm going to show you. It's something that I came up with, and I think this is pretty clever. I figured this out. I got a mold right here I'm going to show you. This is a different type of mold. It's a different type of rubber, but I'm going to show you. It's the same exact thing, but see, you got two halves to your mold. And you put your two halves to your mold together, okay? How they go together. And they go together, okay? Like that. Now what you do is, you see right here is my sprue hole. So right here on this mold there's my sprue hole. What we're going to do, we're going to make this piece right here. See, now what this piece right here is, this is like a little frame. It's like a little holder, okay? And you can put your mold, see, you put your mold in there. See that? And then what this allows you to do is you can hold your mold with one hand, see, like this. And you can just put your fingers on there and hold that like that with your thumb on the bottom like that, and just stick that right on your nozzle on your wax injector, and it holds this mold together real tight. But see, you can make the same thing with this mold. You do the same thing, but what you do, you lay your mold down like this on first of all, get some Vaseline. Okay, and you put you some Vaseline down on your table, okay, some little coat of Vaseline so nothing's going to stick to it. And then you lay your mold down like this, okay, see? I'll put them next to each other, maybe you can kind of understand this, but you put your mold down like that. See, here's this one. Alright, now, and you put your mold down, and you put a little bit of Vaseline over your mold. Just rub it lightly on there. Light little coat. You don't really need much, because it's, you know, this is silicone, and it's not much is going to stick to it, but you just put that down like that, and then this is just some Bondo. So you get you some Bondo, and you mix it up. You stir it up real good. You put the hardener in it, and you stir it up real good. And you just kind of pour that Bondo on top of this mold. And you just kind of let that Bondo cover that whole mold. See, I just laid this down on the table. See, I laid that down on the table just like that. And I poured Bondo right here on top of it. But you see you see what that did? See that mold frame that makes? And then when that Bondo is setting up, but before it gets real hard while it's still soft, Just let it get a little bit hard, you know, like it'll be kind of like cheese when it starts setting up before it goes off solid, like real hard. But then you just, when that Bondo is soft, just come across here and make a straight cut right across the edge of your mold, right across here, you know, with a knife. See, I made a just straight cut across there. And that's how you build a real good mold frame. If you don't have a good mold frame like this, you're gonna have to go and like take 2 pieces of wood or something and clamp it down like that, because this has got to be held tight together. See, you can't just stick it on your wax injector like that. You can't do that. If I just stick that on my wax injector, wax is just going to shoot everywhere. That mold's got to be held tight like this. See what I'm saying? Okay, you want your molds held tight like that. That's why you build this little frame. Now, if you're going to do it this way, if you don't have any Bondo, and if Bondo's a little too expensive for you, what you can do the same thing with plaster of Paris. Okay, you can mix up some plaster of Paris, do exactly the same thing with it, pour it down, pour it right over it, mix it real thick. You know, real thick, so it's real, and just let it kind of run down just like the Bondo. See, that Bondo just ran down over there, see? And then I just shaved it off a little bit on the top, but you can make this frame right here the same thing out of plaster of Paris. I just like the Bondo better because it's a hard plastic shell, and I can, you know, drop it on the floor or whatever. It's not going to break. Plaster works fine, but you got to be real careful when you handle them. If you drop this shell on the floor, it'll break. I've made shells like this. I still got some out in the shop that are made out of plaster too. It works just fine. But that's it. There you go now. Now, see, we got a real good mold. Now, I can just shoot my wax right in here. All right. In fact, I'm going to go on out and take this mold right out to the shop, and I'm going to shoot it full of wax. Okay. I'm going to make me a little part like this for this mold. But I'll go shoot this mold, and then I'll come back and we'll see what kind of wax pattern. We'll see if our wax pattern looks how much of an exact copy of this hammerhead that we got. But I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to be 100%. 100% exact copy. And we'll have this piece reproduced in wax, and then we just take our wax patterns, tree them all up, put them down in a flask, make an investment mold, and then we can pour some hot metal down in there, and we can make us some hammerheads. I'm casting all these chasing hammers. I'm casting these out of bronze. In fact, tomorrow, I should have a brand new video up tomorrow on these, or maybe even tonight. But just watch for it. It'll be the next video coming out. But I'm actually going to cast. I'm making some trees, and I'm going to actually cast these hammers in bronze, and I'm going to show the whole process of how you cast these. I'm going to cast some bronze hammers, and I got a couple trees made up. I got hammers on them, and I got other parts on them too. So that's the very next video. Now, you don't want to miss that. That's going to be a real good video. You'll learn the whole process of lost wax casting with some bronze from start to finish. But, all right, well, I'm going to go shoot me a wax pattern, and then I'll bring it back and show you. But I would just like to say, you know, while I'm standing here, that if you're new to my channel and you haven't subscribed to my channel, I really would greatly appreciate it if you would subscribe to my channel. I think I think you would really learn a whole lot if you do subscribe. If this is something that sparks your interest and you think you might be interested in, you know, what I'm doing here, and I'd just love to have you as a member of my channel. I teach silversmithing, jewelry making, and casting. I do a lot of jewelry casting, but I also do all different types, other types of casting as well. So yeah, I'd really love to have you as a member of my channel. But if you do decide that you want to go ahead and subscribe to my channel, I would greatly appreciate it if you would just if you could just go down there in that little comment box down there and just leave me a comment, a little short comment, and if you just put down there, I subscribed, I think that would just be awesome. It would really help me out a whole lot as far as growing the channel, and I would really appreciate that. But also, I just want to say real quick here that if you look right on the description, I got links right there to my jewelry group, my Facebook jewelry group. I started a Facebook jewelry group on jewelry making and you know, jewelry casting, and it's really growing. We got a lot of people coming over there from the channel, and it's really cool. People are posting different videos, you know, they're showing things that they've made and different jewelry you know, projects that people have done. And you know, it's a great way to learn and meet other people that are like-minded, that are making jewelry. You can learn a lot too that way, and it's a lot of fun. But if you have any questions or anything you want to learn, just if you go to my jewelry group, if you just, you know, sign up for my Facebook group, just post your questions right on Facebook, and I'll answer them right back. And I got a lot of other people on there that are really, there's some people on there that have joined up that are just doing just some epic stuff. One of my friends is his name is David Cullison. He's over in the UK, and I'll tell you what, David is this guy's just doing some epic stuff with mold making and wax patterns and casting, and you really should just go and just check out David Cullison. He's in the UK. Here's his information. I'll put it right up on the screen here for you. But he's really worth checking out. So go check out his stuff. And I'll tell you, boy, David's got me beat by a long shot. But he's over there in the UK. So here's his name. His name is he's on Instagram. So if you just look him up on Instagram, his name is Novice Artisan. Right here it is on the screen. So go check out David. All right, well, let me go shoot this pattern, and I'll be right back, and then we're going to get this video wrapped up. Okay, well, there it is. I just went out there. I had to cut me a few more vents in the mold. I had to shoot a couple because it wasn't giving a complete fill, but there it is. Boy, that's a beauty. That thing is absolutely sweet. Now, when I cast these, all I'm going to have to do is just buff these down, and that's it. I mean, I'll be making me some hammers. Boy, this is real exciting. This stuff's a lot of fun. It's super exciting. I know I'm going to be casting me some hammers in bronze. But, well, all right. There it is. I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up here for today. So, well, it's been fun, and I would appreciate it if you would subscribe to my channel. But, all right, well, my name's Steve, and I'll talk to you in the next video.